available on demand instantly. And technology makes it simple for anyone to create a website and publish content, and even, as I showed you with Sutro, create travel apps with no specialist knowledge. The question is, how much of it, how much of all this stuff that's being produced is any good? Can any of the small startups really make enough income to create rich travel content of real worth that helps tourists to relate to host communities and understand destinations in the way that the best guidebooks have over the last 30 years or so? I think the question really is, are we in an age where sheer volume of content makes it hard to see the gems of content shining amid the technological brilliance of even the most basic piece of travel software? And while I'm all for technology helping us to communicate, to reciprocate, and keep an up-to-the-minute view of the world around us, I'm convinced there'll always be a place, maybe a limited place, but a place for the flickable, biodegradable paperback book. But the question is, how can a fragmented, increasingly unprofitable business model keep producing travel information on dead trees? Well, one answer might be by trying to pair the conventional travel guide up with one of the technologies that's becoming increasingly common in mobile technology, barcode reader software. Shops are already getting used to customers browsing their displays with their mobiles and scanning product barcodes with the cameras on them and comparing prices back home on, say, Amazon, or doing it in the shop actually, and then going home, or even doing the ordering in the shop and ordering the same product from Amazon straight away. It's a frustrating part of retail, from what I understand at the moment. But suppose a conventional guidebook were to include barcodes, or their more evolved cousins, those guys on the right, QR codes, in the margins of the pages. They could be loaded with updated information on the reader's mobile, or there could be an extended review or a forum thread about the hotel, or there could be commercial or promotional links. So you scan this QR code in the book you bought, and it would take you to a whole new extra world of content. But all of it curated and guided by the authors of the book. The key point is that the book would still work as a guide, even without the mobile. It would just have all that extra information tagged to it. It's almost like those QR codes would become the equivalent of a link on a web page. I went to see this company the other day in the UK. They're just outside London, Expert Africa. They're an independent business run as part of a very successful small agent and tour operator called Sundial, and their speciality, Expert Africa, is plain enough. But what makes them unique is the fact that Expert Africa was started by a guidebook writer. Chris McIntyre, the MD, is the author of the Black Guides to Botswana, Libya, Zambia and Zanzibar. And on page 1 of each of his guides, he's got an advert for Expert Africa, stressing that the managing director is the author of the guide. Chris's staff, he's got about a dozen staff, get 4 weeks a year to do travel research, in addition to their personal holidays, and they use that time to get to know the countries they sell, visit lodges and parks and resorts and so on, and generally become fully informed, as well as research the guidebooks. Expert Africa is an award-winning example of good client relations, with staff who are impressively well informed about the destinations they sell. Chris McIntyre, the MD, is on 24/7 standby should a client ever need to make a call from the bush. But since every client gets a copy of one of his books, that hardly ever seems to occur. He's looking at including those QR codes in future editions of his books, which would enable him to provide extra information. He'd be able to include links to Expert Africa's coverage, for example, of the complicated price structures that safari lodges usually have. So I think this paper-digital pairing of independent travel information with the travel products themselves feels like a model that could turn out to be very robust, and especially perhaps in the field of green and fair trade tourism, where concepts have to be quite carefully presented and explained, and there might be a whole lot of extra information there wouldn't be room for in the book, but you'd want to make clear. That does about wrap up what I want to say, but as a final thought, I thought it would be quite interesting for you guys not just to hear from me, but also to get a little bit of views canvassed from other